So under sequences, we want to look at example 1. Example 1, part A says, a sequence is given by the formula un equals to 3n plus 5 for n equals to 1, 2, 3, and it continues. So this is the sequence that we are given. And the question says, write down the first 5 terms of this sequence. So our instruction is we need to find the first 5 terms. So the solution to part A is, in part A, we are given the formula of the sequence un as 3n plus 5. And remember, our n equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, and it continues up to infinity, depending on what interests you. Now, for us to find the first 5 terms, we need to find each of the terms. That is the first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and fifth term. So to start, the first term, which we denote as u1. So in getting the first term u1, we just substitute for n as 1 in the formula, and that gives us the first term. And in this case now, we shall now say our first term u1 equals to 3 times n. What is our n? Our n is 1 for the first term. So 3 times n plus 5. And then 3 times 1 is 3 plus 5 is 8. Therefore, our first term is 8. And for the second term, we substitute for n as 2. Second term is u2. And for second term, our n should be 2. And therefore, u2 becomes, we follow the same formula here. What is our formula? It is 3 times n. Our n is 2. And then plus 5. n times 2. 3 times 2, we get 6. 6 plus 5, it is 11. And therefore, our second term is 11. Going to the third term, which we denote as u3, our n in third term should be 3. Therefore, our third term u3 becomes, follow the formula, we have 3 times our n. Our n is 3 plus 5. Yes, 3 times 3, that is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. Press the calculator. So our third term is 14. And then let me come this side. For our fourth term, u4, our n should be 4. So we use that same formula. We say our u4 now, the fourth term, equals to 3 times our n for the fourth term is 4 plus 5. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 5, 17. So our fourth term is 17. That is the number in position 4. And finally, our fifth term, which we denote as u5, our n will be 5. So we substitute for n as 5 in that very formula. Therefore, our u5 becomes 3 times 5 plus 5. 3 times 5, 15 plus 5, that is 20. So our fifth term is 20. The fifth term means the term or the number. Okay? If I say term, as a reminder, a term is the same as a number. A term is the same as a number. So the fifth number or the fifth term is 20. That is a number in position 5. So these are our first 5 terms for part A. And therefore, for us to list them, we therefore say the first 5 terms are and then you copy 8, 11, 14, 17, and 20. These are our first 5 terms for example 1A. And going to example 1B. Example 1B, we are given a sequence that is defined by the formula un equals to 4n minus 3, and for n is 1, 2, 3, and continuous. The question says, state the first 6 terms. Example B is looking for the first 6 terms. So let me copy the formula for B. So for part B, I will use the next page. Our formula for B is we're given un equals to 4n minus 3. Okay, it is 4n minus 3. And we have seen that where n is 1, 2, 3, continuous. These are simply the positions. So the question is asking for the first 6 terms. So for us to get the first 6 terms, we start with the first term. So our first term here, which is u1, n should be equal to 1. N is the position. So if you substitute for n as 1, then you are getting a number in position 1. Therefore, here we shall have u1 being equal to 4 times 1 minus 3, right? 4 times 1 is 4, minus 3 is 1. So our first term is 1. This is our first term, 1. After getting the first term, then we go to the second term. Second term, that is u2. And for second term, n should be 2. N is the position of the number you are looking for. Therefore, our second term u2 becomes 4 times n, which is 2, minus 3. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 3, we get 5. So our second term is 5. And then we go to the third term. Third term, u3. That is a number in position n is 3. And again we substitute. Our third term u3 becomes 4 times 3 and then minus 3. Just follow this very formula, substituting for n accordingly. So from here, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. So our third term u3 is 9. And coming this side, let me go to the fourth term. Fourth term u4 is a number in position 4. So the fourth term u4 becomes u4 equals to, substitute for n as 4 in the formula, that gives us 4 times 4 minus 3. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 minus 3, that gives us 13. Therefore, our fourth term is 13. And then we go to the fifth term. Remember our question was asking for 5 terms. So for 6 terms in this case. Our fifth term, u5, is when n is 5. Substitute for 5 in that formula. Therefore, u5 becomes 4 times 5 minus 3. And then you press the calculator. That is 20 minus 3, and we get 17. So our fifth term in this sequence is 17. And finally, our sixth term which is U6, and here becomes 6, so that we get a number in position 6. Therefore, our U6 here becomes 4 times 6 minus 3. 4 times 6 is 24, minus 3 is 21, and therefore our sixth term is 21. So the question said that we state the first 6 terms of this sequence. Therefore, the first 6 terms are 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17, and finally 21. These are our first 6 terms of the sequence that we were given in example 1, part B, which is here. And therefore, this is the solution to example 1 of the sequences. A reminder, this is Vision Plus